The third match, though, between Aimee and Team WE already into Champions League. Then once again, Karma can be banned out as the first ban from Aimee, who are on the blue side of Summer's Rift, following with Anar as Gangplank permanently banned out in this regional gauntlet qualifier.
So he should be. May he long remain there, because that champion is silly.
As the next ban is going to be Rek'Sai, taken away by Team WE.
Looking pretty standard across the bans, as we've seen for the majority of the series so far.
And then Echo, the final ban from Team WE. The exact same bans that they've had in game number 1, now transferring over to game 2.
And a reminder that in game number 2, they priority picked the Echo and given a chance. So they are making a point to say that Amazing J will never get this champion.
And Jin was the ban that came up from Team WE when they were on the blue side over the Echo. This time around, it's going to be first picked here for Jin Zhao heading into the bottom lane. Still waiting to see what Team W are going to pick up as their next 2 picks.
And immediately they see the Jin and they hover 2 champions that have great counter to Jin's ultimate. Again, having 2 AoE displacements, the Trundle Pillar as well as the Gragas Cask.
Yeah, and the Trundle was massive from Road in that second game, so locking that one in for themselves indicates that they respect it and they wanted to counter Jin all the same.
Still waiting to see what Aimee going to pick up next as the Trundle was locked in. Condi's going to be picking up the Gragas as well, heading into the jungle. Vladimir is still left up and available as Shen is open too. 2 big strong picks that are heavily contested between Aimee and Team WE.
Yeah, and proven as a flex now, so the Vladimir is actually a really good second rotation here from Aimee. Surprised to a degree, I guess, that WE didn't lock it in early. Yeah, they might go back to the Malzahar. They might actually change out their mid lane pick, which would be a delight.
And they've picked up Vladimir 2 games already in the row, Aimee. Might be a 3rd one here.
That's the thing, like, they are very good at the Vladimir as well, is what we have seen.
And Voiler's still looking to see what jungle champions he's going to be bringing onto the Rift. Was hovering over Elise, now going to be sticking with the Graves as his pick of choice, and Athena should be picking up the Vladimir again in game 3.
I mean, your big difference between Graves and Elise in terms of looking at Vladimir is that one of them doesn't have hard CC, so the Elise will at least bring CC and offer more kill threat in the Vladimir lane, whereas with Graves, it's a lot more burst, a lot more teamfight oriented because Vladimir can augment his AoE damage.
If this is the lock-in, though, from Team WE, I actually am concerned for Aimee. That's a pretty big, dangerous 4-man roster that is entirely WE's identity.
And it does get locked in. Shen and Siva picked up by Team WE.
957 did play Shen in game number 1, and it was the Team WE comeback victory. So technically has a 100% win rate in this series, was permanently banned yesterday. Wasn't touched last game, but like Rusty said, this is Team WE to a T. They have a run-and-shoot composition and a 5v5 composition.
Still waiting to see what the next 2 picks from Aimee are going to be. Jin Zhao hovering over the Poppy. That was a pick we expected Aimee to pick up during their final pick rotation in the last game. Instead, swapping it out for the Varus that worked wonders coming into that match. And they still have some time to decide what those 2 picks are going to be. Missing a top laner unless they flex the Vladimir to Amazing J again. And a support for Road. So Road most likely going to pick his own champion.
I can see the Braum being locked in as well. It's actually quite useful against the Gragas. Blocks a lot of the Siva's damage.
It does get locked in. Does well into Siva in the lane. Does well into Gragas as a pseudo counter to his ultimate with the shield. And Athena will pick up Vladimir. That will be heading into the mid lane because Jin Zhao locks in the Poppy for Amazing J.
Now just play Lissandra. That's what I want. Stop playing Mels.
So much damage across Aimee's composition in so many different avenues and facets, and they also have really good breakpoints, bridging composition about when they're strong and what they can do when. So Avoidless should have complete control over the early game with that Graves. Will hand off the baton to the Vladimir, and the late game, very late game, hand off the baton to Jin Zhao on that Graves.
Still waiting to see what Team WE's last pick is going to be. We have seen them pick up Malzahar 2 games in a row now. This will make it a 3rd if Sia locks it in as his mid-lane pick of choice. Seems to want this matchup against the Vladimir and will get it once more, as he does stick with the Malzahar pick in the mid lane.
Yep, he definitely does. Fair enough. It's the 3rd time he'll play it. Surely he'll be a bit more comfortable knowing his matchup. He hasn't been countered by a Varus, and he will be against the Vladimir. However, last time we saw these 2 champions duke it out from these 2 players, it was a massive advantage actually accrued by Athena in just a raw 1v1. So CA does have to work out whatever went wrong in that first game.
Again, though, I mean, he's fallen behind both games this time around. I'm disappointed to see the Malzahar. I understand why. He brings a lot of wave control. He's going to open up a lot of space for Condi to invade, find wards on Graves, track him down, but I feel like they're over-relying on the hard CC or single target lockdown versus bringing something like Lysandre and having a semi-global presence early game.
Interesting to see if they're going to be able to use the Malzahar effectively. So far, though, Aimee been diffusing it well with their mid lane picks, as well as picking up multiple QSSs on their team to make sure the Malzahar ultimate is not as effective in these fights.
Yeah, and also Malzahar and Vladimir both not going to be teleport champions, so it is okay to pick one when seeing the other. But he just doesn't want to have that map influence. The Shen will be picking up the slack in that respect, and it comes down to what 957 and Condi can accomplish if they work around CA.
It does feel like that's when the burden rests on Team Nui's shoulders at the moment. Mystic and Zero, they've been doing a good job in the bottom lane so far, but the last match, Xinjiao and Road really stepped up to the play, really showed that they're a force to be reckoned with, and got the ball rolling for Aimee nice and early.
And the nice thing about the Braum pick is it does open up kill pressure very early on in that lane if he can land that concussive blows. So I feel like Voidless just has a lot more options about where he can play on the map. I do agree that it's really up to 957 and Condi to see what they can get done, but you're still waiting for Shen to get to that level 6 before you can start impacting everywhere.
But now that we're going to be heading on to Summoner's Rift for game number 3 between Aimee and Team WE. It's a best of 5 series, so the series has been tied up nice and early by Aimee, picking it up to 1-1. We'll have to see who will triumph in this third match to put them at match point.
It is going to be an Infernal Drake to start off, so again, Team WE can get punished if they don't pick up the ball early. You look at their champions who should be able to do anything early, and they do have good wave clear and control in the Malzahar for mid lane, but Condi's still facing across from Graves, so very important that he gets the Fog of War advantage if he wants to make use on Gragas.
He also has the gank advantage when you look at Condi, so an early snowball can be made by Condi in any particular lane that he chooses. Of course, we'll have to see which one he does choose, and to me, that's around the level 6 point. When 957 hits 6, Condi can not necessarily have to be 6, but if CA is, people die when they show up.
Pretty much. So we're going to have to see where the junglers start on the map. So far, it's been most junglers starting on the top side of Summoner's Rift to kick things off. Seems like Condi is no exception as he looks to start at his red buff with the help of 957. And it seems like a Voidless on Graves will start at his blue with the help of Amazing J, or it is Gromp. And both AD carries and supports taking a camp at level 1, neither opting to invade early or late to stop that from happening.
Now, starting on the same side of the jungle now is a Voidless and Condi, so they can both rotate with a full clear towards the bottom half. We have seen more often than not a bit of attention has been paid after the full clear towards the bottom 2v2 because they are fighting each other a lot.
Checking with the Keystone Masteries, nothing too surprising. Grassfield in dying on the top laners, as well as the Trundle support. Warlord's Bloodlust for the Sivir and Deathfire Touch being picked up by Jin in the bottom lane. Bond of Stone as well for Ro, just to make sure he keeps Xinjiao nice and healthy in the laning phase. It's good trades coming out from Mystic already to start things off. Still a rush for positioning in this early game between the AD carries.
You know, normally I would give the wave control to Sivir alone, but I've seen a lot of damage done with Jin and Braum if you don't respect your positioning next to those creeps. Allow Braum to leap to one of them and start off his hard CC. Right now, Mystic and Zero still in full control, but I'm holding my breath because Jin Zhao is a phenomenal Jin player.
Certainly is, and it is a Connect 4 lane of Jin and Braum, so very powerful if you do get all 4 shots off as Jin.
What this should mean is that if Mystic is able to regain control of this lane and Xie gets control in the mid lane as Malzahar when he starts getting his push, that it's going to open up the bottom side of the map for Condi to make plays.
Speaking of Condi, he's taking down the Rift Scuttle from the bottom side of the map. A Voidless still working to take down his Raptor camp, has got both his buffs up and available. Is regenerating through the red buff as well. Xinjiao still farming underneath his turret. Mystic's been able to shove in the wave nice and early.
Yeah, Voidless is doing an unsafe clear, but that's okay. He doesn't want to gank. The problem is every lane is having a rough time. They're being pushed in. 957 was poking out Amazing J. CA is the only one that wasn't doing too well.
Yeah, cop that matter.
Same thing applies to this bottom lane, always pushed in, so you'd expect that Graves wants to get a gank off.
As there is a gank coming to mid lane. Condi looking for Athena. Sanguine Pool forced to be used nice and early. Takes a bit of damage from the gank.
Just trying to bait out the flash there. Didn't pull the trigger on his own, seeing if Vladimir would be a bit tense.
Well, it still has double buffs here, but it's spotted out by 2 wards placed down earlier by Team WE. You know exactly where the Graves is. CA even opting to go back to base behind the brush. So he was able to push in Athena nice and early. No teleports for either mid laner, so he will be walking back to the lane. Athena will be able to farm a little bit more and try and push this one into the Malzahar's turret.
Not saying he should, but he can ghost to lane.
Well, it helps that Condi had the gank to force Vladimir off to make sure that that Xie could get that really healthy, very nicely timed back. He's not going to miss pretty much anything, probably 2 creeps, if that.
So Zero and Mystic again, forcing Jinjiao and Road back. Jinjiao has no more potion to work with, and still taking a lot of chip damage from Mystic time and time again. He forced to farm underneath his turret, more importantly. Has given Mystic a small CS lead, which will just keep growing. And Jinjiao misses minion after minion.
Yeah, this is actually a disastrous start to the bottom lane 2v2 from Aimee. And it's good, well-controlled stuff here from WE. Gragas doesn't need to gank. A Voidless feels like he has to. But then 957's 1 level away from being a big influential factor. And that could diffuse that anyway.
And just to see the different type of confidence from Mystic. Yeah, he was playing aggressive when he was on Jhin and Ashe in both game number 1 and number 2, but it just looks so much cleaner and crisper when he's on his signature champion like that Sivir.
Athena still getting shoved in the mid lane by Sia. The Malzahar doing some good work so far, not falling as behind as we saw him in game 1 when we saw the exact same matchup between Sia and Athena. Athena was able to pull through and get a nice 50 CS lead. His bottom side of the map, Road putting up the shield, is able to block out the Boomerang Blade coming out from Mystic and deny the chip damage that's coming in from Sivir time and time again.
This lane is brutal though. Mystic is forcing Jinjiao to contest for pretty much every single CS, but meanwhile, we have a gank being set up in the mid lane.
Sia still has his passive available, so we will be able to negate a little bit of damage. Or crowd control if he chooses to, but there goes the Voidless. Puts down the smoke screen, just slows up Sia and gets a bit of chip damage as well as the Thunderlords proc off, forces him to use a potion.
And this is the big difference between Elise and Graves, the fact that yes, he's going to bring more initial burst damage by having that Graves, although minor when you compare it to the execute that Elise can do. But big thing is you don't have that hard CC, so Malzahar is going to be very safe in this lane.
So MakeTJ up the top side of the map. He's picked up Poppy here. A pick that we saw a couple of times in the 2 series we had yesterday. It has been a little bit more popular recently in the LPL, especially as we got closer to playoffs. There's Mystic and Road just dancing in the bottom lane together.
He missed the door, so Mystic wins this round. Small victory, but it is a victory.
Can't miss those, Road. Mako's watching.
Teleport's being used up into the top side. That means Amazing J will not be able to follow any sort of play that 957 puts down on the map. That's a big window for Team WE.
Athena now moving into mid lane. Still trying to clear out against Sia. Malzahar doing a great job of shoving in.
Fortunately, Aimee are in a position right now where they shouldn't have any sort of teleport play open to them, simply because they're so far underneath their towers and getting shoved in that there's nowhere to teleport to unless you're setting up a dive.
They could go for the Infernal Drake once they work around certain things. I may really have no opportunity to do anything besides watch and take it. Teleport being burned does mean that the Dragon could be looked at by the Shen.
His bottom side of the map again. CS discrepancy opening up for Mystic. He's about 20 CS up now, constantly pushing Jinjiao and Road into their turret and chipping away at them. Curtain Call going to come out, trying to clear this wave before he heads back to base.
I mean, this is a big deal, but again, the fact that 957 had the push on the wave, so not only does he force the TB, oh, hold on.
They're fighting. Athena going to get locked down here. Sia is going to use the ultimate as Sciencefield comes out, but the ultimate from Gragas knocks him back to safety. The human play will heal him up nicely, and Athena escapes the gank.
Yeah, and a big flash from Athena to ensure he gets knocked to safety as they've got Condi.
Condi's in trouble. Concussive blows should be able to come out here. Rhodes still chasing down Zero. Wants to fight the support instead.
And they have the
nothing
confidence.
happens.
They have the confidence to do that because big ultimates had just been used. The Malzahar ultimate as well as the Gragas ultimate down, which is why you see Aimee moving so far forward and so aggressively into the jungle.
Sia is able to sneak it back in through the Pixel Brush. Does give a Voidless time to take down the Scuttle Crab in the bottom lane.
Blue.
Remember, it was an Infernal Dragon that spawned first in the map, so big objective for the two teams to contend for once they get the positional advantage. Yes, they do want to try and take down the blue buff here, trying to contest it with Condi.
And this is a big swing. They get to do this because, again, Xie was forced back. He's now just back in his lane. So they had the numbers advantage, and Avoidless just eye contact with Condi takes everything.
Good communication with Road to burst down at the exact same time.
Yep, well executed on by Aimee, and it's a blue buff that doesn't go to CA, so unfortunate for him. He's not having a great time in this middle lane once again. No one's surprised, apparently. He just keeps wanting to be the Malzahar as a team-based decision. No value being placed on winning laning phase from WE here, but that's how Aimee carry away games.
And on the other side, it was Athena, again, outperforming Sei, hitting a really nice flash. She ate up so many resources from Team WE, and with those resources down, opened up Aimee to make a competitive counterplay, as we actually see a lane swap happening.
The biggest criticism we had about Team WE is the fact that they didn't pick to win their lanes, and it was costing them a lot of maps against Snake. And there is the rotation of Jin Jiao towards the top side map. We'll get spotted out by a ward. So 957 knows that he's up here. They ping him out. They ping for help onto the turret instead. Mystic and Zero trying to take down the bottom lane outer turret by themselves. Road will find 957, doesn't connect with the slow.
And this is really smart because the bottom lane is already won for Team WE, so what they're trying to do is get a cheeky catch on a first blood as well as the first break. So if that ward hadn't been there, it would have been a huge win.
Oh, he's got Road.
Has to flash and get the heal from Jin Jiao to get back to safety. Big misplay coming out from the support, and now 957 is teleporting back to the top lane.
And now this diffuses everything that Aimee had tried to set up. It was a good look and a good idea, but a better counterplay from Team WE.
Yeah, and Avoidless is actually a top laner at the moment, playing on the opposite side of the map. As they're looking to dive him.
On the Hunt's gone in. There's the Subjugate as well to negate the resistance as Avoidless has to flash back to the turret, but it's going to get taken out by the Boomerang Blade. Mystic picks up first blood, and they should be able to take down first turret as well.
Yeah, big plays from WE's bottom lane. Again, Voidless for no particular reason was just a bottom laner. Has no ultimate, has no displacements, and they can just run him down and mow him down. Once again, WE's bottom lane, when they're winning, it feels like the team just does better.
You can see there is a gold advantage now for Team WE. They're about 2,000 gold up, close to it, and 1.5 of that is in the hands of Mystic at the moment. 115 to 90 CS, a single kill, which is first blood and first turret. Very strong to kick things off here in game number 3.
They now have control over the bottom side of the map. They can get that bottom wave pushing farther into the inner tower of Aimee, which means they can get a positional advantage around this Infernal Drake if they want to pull the trigger on it.
This is the first game really, but it doesn't look like it's Aimee's game to win. Team WE doing a good job in the early parts of the map.
I mean, this feels like game 1 again, simply because middle lane's going well for Athena and bottom lane's going well for WE. The difference, you can look at junglers, neither of them really having an impact. Top laners are stagnant. The Shen could ult somewhere if it comes to it, but he hasn't found the need to because it's 0-on-1 in kills. No one's doing anything besides these winning lanes.
Athena in the mid lane still farming out against here. Lots of Boiling's going to be sacking up as they try to get the jump on towards the Boilers. Good pillar comes out from Zero. He's stuck. He tries to jump out, but he can't. And Team UE get another pick onto Aimee's jungler.
But there's no reason why a Voidless should be in the bottom side river. Again, WE, Mystic, and Zero are so much farther ahead than Jin Jiao and Road. It's unsafe to be there, and now mid lane.
Athena being locked down here. There goes the Hemo player. He wants to try and fight this one out, but there's a fight at the Dragon Pit. As Team WE looking to fight this one out. Road's being caught out, gets taken down. Mystic going to be able to pick up that first kill now. Amazing Jay's the next target. He falls. Double kill for Team WE's AD carry, and they take down the Infernal Dragon as well.
The big thing about this to me is that CA is also keeping Athena busy, so the big man of Aimee is not able to join the fight, and that means the strong members of W are able to prosper as a single unit.
And exactly like game number 1, it feels like Aimee had this big weapon in the mid lane that they're just failing to mobilize.
Because they don't have a jungler. He's 0-2, and all he's doing is getting caught, unfortunately, at the moment.
The Boilers has fallen down twice, and both times is where Team W have been able to take their objectives in big fights. It's given them a 3,000 gold lead. Only 30 minutes into the game as well.
This is interesting, where Mystic and Zero are going to go. Looks like they're heading towards that mid lane. That's getting close.
So frustrating to watch.
That's a lot of Oilings chasing up Athena.
It's Mystic
There's
going
silence
bottom.
during the entire time as well. Now we'll be able to try and transfuse his way back up.
Yeah, but they're actually rotating mid, so this is better from WE than anyone else because Athena has to go back to base. He's going to get pressured out by Mystic as well as CA.
So let's see if Tino can take down this middle lane outer turret. Crimson Rush available for Athena means he heals up slightly. Condi comes in, sorry, Voidless comes in. Clears up most of that wave and Road here to help out the Vladimir.
Good hold from Athena and the Vladimir, which means that Team W are now just going to reset their map, so it alleviates a little bit of the tempo of this game. But Condi's going to quickly just walk in and take what he can.
Look to take down red buff for themselves. Condi will smite that, pick it up for him.
He's got momentum.
Trying to chase on towards Road. Road backs the heck out of there. Even though it was his own jungle. Athena has been able to heal up nicely in this mid lane.
And the same problem now applies in the opposite way. So Athena can stay around. He's got sustained. CA's needed to recall for quite a while. If Jin gets a W off, then Malzahar dies. Neither mid lane are really respecting the opposition team and just getting greedy and overstaying because they want to keep the minion waves trimmed down.
Jin's caught.
That's the back off. Road jumps over towards his aid and takes down the ward that was placed down by Condi.
But meanwhile, what they've been doing is keeping Jin from rotating into this lane, which means that Mystic gets all of the free time with the tower. So great movement from Team WE to just get a free structure.
And the second turret being picked up by Team WE as well. 3,500 gold in the lead. 2 structures, 8 dragon and 4 kills.
But I think ultimately that was just a mistake from Aime. They could have actually rotated mid and at least tried to make a play on the turret. What they get instead is absolutely nothing and they concede a structure. There wasn't even a trade.
I just feel like them moving towards the mid lane, Malzahar would just back up and then Gragas would rotate back towards mid. Team WE are just beating them around every corner. They have so many more options, much more flexible in how they're moving, and it has a lot to do with their vision. They've got that entire jungle lit up, so they're going to see Aime when they make those moves.
Still on the top side of the map, 957 on this Shen. Hasn't done too much. 179 needing to get 2 kills at the Dragon Pit. Just been matching Amazing J for now, about 10 CS up in that top lane. Suddenly we see Mystics rotated into the mid lane, looking to try and continue the siege against Athena, yet to go back to base and complete his Spirit Passage.
You might want to do that.
He is 25 CS up ahead of Sia, not the 50 that we saw in the first match, but still a sizable lead for the Vladimir, trying to stay in this match and stay relevant for his team. 3 kills over towards Mystic though. He's picked up his Essence River, has the Zeal completed as well. Jin Jiao sitting on the components of his Yomu's Ghostblade instead.
And he's a man who can carry with gold as well, Mystic. One of his better champions. Should be able to put in work as they've now gone from mid to top lane.
Top side of the map makes sure he has to be a little bit careful. Zero looking to collapse on towards the Poppy, but doesn't fancy the fight anymore.
Don't be fooled. Those creeps were much more important than the Poppy here.
And Zion may rotate their support towards the top side of the map with the assistance of a Voidless, making sure that he stays safe. CS still adding a lot of pressure towards this mid lane, trying to keep Athena locked down underneath his own turret, but still not farming up as well as the Vladimir.
It's fine, he's just neutralizing the lane while Condi and Mystic and Zero are just winning the whole map for Team WE.
Yeah, again, he's achieving his purpose, right?
Wards have been placed down here, so I may will be able to spot out Condi to know that he's in the blue side jungle, but he hasn't made his move yet.
And look at him, 957 and Amazing J. 957 is making sure that Amazing J can't TP up there. He's hunting him, being a huge pest and obnoxious.
Is the Hemo play being used in the mid lane? Athena get locked down, lots of Voidlings dealing damage towards the Vladimir. The Merlin going to deal a lot of hurt due to the damage, healing reduction that Vladimir will get from it. So he can't win the trade, and Sia does a good job of keeping him locked down.
They're going to catch him on Wolves, though.
They try to get the body slam, it doesn't connect, coming out from Condi. Does not opt to use the flash instead.
Gives him a keg bop as an end result.
And Condi's now got 2 people locked down, a Voidless as well as Athena, which means it's going to be a 3v2 on the top side, possibly a 4v3 if Amazing J and 957 get involved.
Voidless just clearing out wards inside of the blue side of his jungle road, and Jinjiao just trying to hold on underneath this turret. Traps being set up behind Jinjiao in case he gets dove.
Yeah, playing League of Legends at an extremely slow pace here though, WE. With a Sivir this big, they could put more emphasis there. They could bring Condi up towards him and start trying to make some plays around it. But instead they want to utilize the 2v2 strength that the Sivir Trundle has. Just control vision around where they're going to be and let them slowly but assuredly get down these structures.
Speaking of vision, you can see the wards that have been placed down currently in this game on the bottom right-hand side of your screen.
I think the most important aspect is that hard line that goes across the red jungle for Aime. Just gives 957 so much information to play around with so he can be that far forward on Shen.
Those are all pink wards as well, so unless Team W gets in on there, unless Aimee gets in and clears them out, they're going to be there for quite some time. Doesn't seem like they're going to get the opportunity to do so anytime soon, as Team W is still pushing on this top lane turret, chipping away wherever they can. Jin Zhao forced to stay far behind the mini wave to farm up. Finally, Road will come up to the top lane. Mystic taking a lot of damage from that crit shot that came out from Jin Zhao.
Yeah, big crit actually from Jin Zhao. Again, the strength of the Jin is still definitely there. Needs to be respected to an extent, but the Sivir is also just a little bit larger if they're hitting each other at the same time. It's more so that Jin Zhao was trying to utilize his range whilst Mystic was trying to hit the structures.
They're trying to get Condi in.
Athena actually getting taken down incredibly low by Athena. The taunt will not connect from 957. Forced to use the Stand United to keep his mid laner alive. The crucial ultimate taken down by Aimee.
Yeah, there's also a Vladimir and a Graves ultimate gone.
And a flash burn on those two champions too.
I mean, fair enough, that's where Poppy's been.
Pretty much a top laner. Athena getting a body bopped here by Condi, but good use of the blood bank from Athena. Gets him nice back up to a good amount of health.
Yeah, and going for a half damage, half tanky route here for Condi. The Iceborne Gauntlet means he has the Sheen power spike for right now, as that was a big fight for a buckler.
957 gets it eventually. Mason J not about that life as he backs away. Doesn't have the buckler to keep him safe.
Just pull Condi into the top side of the map, please. I'm actually getting frustrated.
But not yet. They're still having him farm up, and if there's any team that will just play it out slow and steady, it's going to be Team WE.
It's just so frustrating that they're... Okay, good news is that they're confident enough that if it comes to these late game carries and Jin and Sivir, it's just like, I'm going to play better. I'm the Sivir, I'm going to do more AoE damage. Doesn't matter if this guy will crit me and I'll explode once. I have faith that I will win the game. But at the same time, just win.
Sia has been jumped on here in the mid lane. Has used the Ghost to run away. Still living here. Collateral damage already used, and lots of teleports being cancelled as Aimee get the jump onto the mid laner again, forcing him to go back to base the second time in the last few minutes.
Yeah, they're actually really becoming a nuisance to CA. This is an unfortunate thing because WE should be the ones with the gold lead making proactive plays. Instead, they're stuck reacting to their mid laner having a bad time. This is actually good for Aimee because they're working around their strong point, which is Athena, but it's really poor from WE because they're not playing around anything. They're just sitting in laning phase.
They do get the structure, but I have to completely agree. They're just slowing down the pace of this game when they don't need to. They have the lead. They can play aggressive.
Well, they still take a further lead here, so now 5,000 gold up after taking down the top lane outer turret for themselves. Mystic able to utilize the people in the mid lane to take that down by himself.
I just think the correct play was definitely to go for the turret they got, right? Like, they're not making a bad decision.
Just like 3 minutes too late.
So now they're trying to jump on top of Amazing J, puts down a W, stops Connie for jumping forward, and ejects both of them away from his life as they move over towards the Dragon Pit instead.
That's fine.
Gives them momentum towards the next objective. They're like, all right, since we were over in the area, take the Drake.
There is an issue where Aimee are trading a structure for a Cloud Drake, so definitely a win for Aimee if Braum and Jin can push this down. Although they're actually going to give a lot of respect to a lot of missing members of Team WE. As you can see, the caution pings coming across because CA and Zero were looking to rotate with Mystic.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, lacking vision from Aimee to secure a major objective.
This Cloud Dragon gets picked up by Team WE. Small consolation prize for them here. The next dragon spawn will be an Ocean Dragon, so they already picked up the Infernal to start things off. Don't get the extra RNG of having more to take in this game.
I guess that's really the thing, though. Like, look at the vision that they have on someone as Rift at the moment. None of it's topside, and if it is, it's usually defensive or neutral in the river. They haven't had the opportunity to push forward. I mean, that's understandable. They're not meant to be winning on the top side of the map. They have no vision deep on bottom side or even near the middle lane either. They're actually just bowing out.
So now Team W looking to push through the mid lane. Athena has been locked down here, takes a lot of damage from the Malzahar, even silenced up so he can't use the Sanguine Pool.
Condi had the opportunity to look for the cask, doesn't throw it, so they can continue to siege and at least threaten with the Gragas ultimate here. Especially with Athena now back, that's a big portion of their wave clear gone. It's just a Jin ADC.
Force the Vladimir out of this lane. Still looking to try and siege here.
That's the door, so Condi now has the window to go in.
Let's see if they do.
They should dive.
Pillar comes in. Ginger has to be careful on the hump being popped there as Amazing J rejoins the fight. Still getting good damage down. Road almost gets taken down. Kodakor comes out from the Jin. Amazing J trying to jump in, knocks them all up. Shen ultimate coming on top of Mystic. Athena rejoining the fight. Pops Condi to start off this team fight. Now Sia's in trouble. Not quite sure where he's trying to run to, but he has to get over this wall to get back to safety. And I may win the team fight. They get a double kill onto the Vladimir, and now chasing out the remaining members of TWE. They pop the Siva. They're chasing 957. They lock it down the concussive blows. And a triple kill comes out for Athena in the mid lane.
Take notes, Team WE. That's how you actually press the go button. Condi died with his ultimate up. I completely agree. They should have dove, but it took them so long to set up that play that IMA were able to get back in position fast enough and punish them. They now rotate to the Baron.
Yeah, they've got the Graves nearby, so they're going to start that one up, but naturally we have to watch the replay. This was good from Mystic. The spell shield actually blocks the ultimate at the same time as getting knocked up. Unfortunately, Condi gets hit by a crit and dies. At the same time, CA stuck on a flank, doesn't want to be on a flank, and Mystic was already chunked out. Just poor play, honestly, from WE. If they're going to make a play, they're going to be aggressive, at least commit to it. That's really where it went wrong, and IMA capitalize with good play of their own.
This is what IMA commit to and get a triple kill onto their Vladimir, who was already steamrolling ahead in the mid lane. Now 30 CS up, sorry. With 3 kills, the Abyssal Scepter as well, the Spirit Passage, the magic damage coming out from the top side of the map. Not going to affect this Vladimir at all anymore.
You don't run a 100-meter race and stop at 80 meters to have a coffee.
They like set out the table. We dusted off some chairs. There was a tablecloth, candlelight dinner.
And that's all been ripped apart now as IMA, only 1,000 gold behind Team WE, do have the Baron buff available for themselves. They're 3 turrets behind Team WE. Maybe even 4 once that mid lane out of falls, because it is fairly low, so they're going to be able to use this to take down even more structures.
And they're only like 700 to 1,000 gold behind. That's what's really terrifying.
Team WE now trying to collapse on towards Athena. They knock the Vladimir back into the team. Amazing J joins the fight, can knock people back, but still Vladimir falls.
There we go.
Now Amazing J in trouble. The Voiling's chasing him down, dealing a lot of damage. We'll be able to pick up the kill with the Boomerang Blade as Mystic gets the double kill. TWE push through. They take down the mid lane in the turret.
They could have done this the entire time. Where was that 5 minutes ago? I mean, it's nice to see Team WE, you know, awake and alive and responsive in this game, but they've been this strong for so long.
They waited until IMA had a Baron buff to make a play like this. It's unfortunate, you're right. Shen even has the ultimate, so if it went a little bit awry, he could have joined the party. WE do still make a play. They've got a 5-1 Siva. There's options available to them. Just surprising how long it took for them to make the play, and now I may have a Baron buff, so the difference could be shrunk back to 0 again.
It feels like another moment where Team WE almost refused to move until Mystic is at a 3-item power spike. Now he is still waiting for that Infinity Edge to come out, about 1425 gold off, but...
Yeah, again, look, we're like critiquing what they're doing. They still scale well. They still have a really good team fight when it comes to late game. They are still going to be a dangerous 5v5, which is the team composition and play style that they will have. We're just looking for more above and beyond what they are usually like.
Because they've been able to show that before, and you have to think at this moment we're competing for that last ticket to the international stage. Play like this will have them torn apart in the early game. This is such a heavy snowball meta.
Now there's still no QSS being picked up by anyone on the side of IMA. So Malzahar's ultimate still going to be able to lock down people for the full duration unless he gets interrupted. Siva has now picked up that Infinity Edge. Also has a Negatron Cloak to negate some of the damage dealt by Amazing J as well as Athena. He's trying to keep himself alive in the back lines and approaching the 6-item Siva win condition for Team WE.
The 550 CS Siva win condition.
This is also typically where they feel confident, so they should start to perform more like Team WE, be a bit more aggressive and forward in their plays.
Athena, though, still a force to be reckoned with. Incredibly tanky in this mid lane. Only Mystic has the real damage to deal with him. See the gold graph here. Short swing, or almost a swing that went in IMA's favor, but TWE just fight back and pick it back up for themselves.
Yeah, there was a dip, but we're back as, meanwhile, Jin's actually ulting mid lane.
Misses everything. Sia loses half his health, pops his ghost to run away from Athena. Seems like a reoccurring trend in this mid lane. Malzahar holds his own, but just slowly, once in a while, he'll get picked off.
And not going for the Proto Belt this time around, the Vladimir. Looks like he's going to be getting a Zonia's with that Fiendish Codex at the same time as a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. So we'll see which one he goes towards first, but at this stage, A little bit less tankiness.
Jaime now looking for their first dragon of the game. They take down the Ocean Dragon. The 19W picking up their third.
Team WE, they don't want the dragon, they just want the fight.
Amazing J, he's been locked up at a subjugate as well. CS ultimate. They're trying to fight this one now. Rhodes in trouble. He gets taken down. They're now chasing on forward towards Athena. The pillar going to be able to slow him down for a brief amount of time. They do get a single pick and force Amazing J to flash away.
957 still has his taunt and his flash available. Zero also able to put the pillars up and set him up for these things. No Baron to take, no Drake to take. Their best bet is exactly where they are now, sieging. Not going to be an easy feat, however.
Let's see what they can do. There's another pillar coming out, trying to separate Aime. Good cast backwards, knocks the Voidless into the team. Team W get a very easy pick. They're trying to burst down the turret. Connie very low, but they do get the turret as Amazing J comes to the fight. He's on top of Mystic, dealing a lot of damage. He flashes out. Amazing J trying to knock up the front line. Can't do it, but Connie gets popped by Jinja on the back lines. Forced to reload. Locks down 957 in the deadly flourish. Pops open the curtain call. Misses the first and the second. The third will connect the fourth. Get a crit 957. That's a massive tank. It's not going to take any damage for that. TW take down an inhibitor turret.
And unfortunately, the inhib still stands for Aime, so still holding on in this game as they chase WE back towards their base. But again, the go button has been built. Sivir is online and ready.
A good opportunity here for Aime to at least get a turret on the back end of a fight. With that inhibitor standing, there's no super minions barreling down the lane. You can see the damage to champions.
Whew.
Not a surprise. The Mystic with his big item spikes is doing the most.
Picking up a lot of gold off the back of that team fight. He's going to pick up even more items to deal even more damage in these fights. Now has a Guardian Angel on the Sivir. It was difficult to be dealt with before.
Full Guardian Angel?
Sorry?
Was that a full Guardian Angel?
He had a Negatron Cloak before.
Okay.
Now has the full Guardian Angel. Still farming up Mystic. One more item away from 6 items.
No. Sivir, that's 1 item away from 5. The boots always go. He's got his R button. That's literally the Sivir win condition. I learnt this from the Chiefs.
Very early rotation of the GA, though. That I like it because there's so much mixed damage. GA, obviously one of the few items that offers both armor and MR. Very expensive, only really cost efficient if you do have that passive up. But Athena's been doing such a great job of punishing, getting to those backlines, so will certainly come in handy.
Aime are pushing for the mid lane out of turret. This falls with ease. TW decide not to defend that, but there's still 5,500 gold in the lead. A few hiccups in the mid game, but find it back strong as we approach 35 minutes into the match.
I mean, let's be frank, I fell asleep in the mid game. I needed WE to play a little bit faster. Didn't get my wish, but they're online now.
Zero has been caught. Zed United comes out onto the Trundle, but he gets obliterated before anything else can happen. 957 still split pushing the bottom lane. But Team WE have to back off from the fight. Slowly, this turret's going to take a lot of damage.
Baron's also up immediately, so right now, and the question has to be brought about, Aime, do they look towards the Baron, or do they have to defend? Because 957 will most likely get this turret regardless.
They're trying to move down towards the bottom lane. 957 will get the turret. Now has to run away from Amazing J as well as Jin Jiao. Gets it, gets the heck out of it. Now Baron's on the table.
And he has both teleport as well as the Stand United, so he can very quickly reposition himself or possibly threaten taking both the bottom and mid inhib.
He's still down in that bottom lane. TW decided they're not going to look towards the Baron without their support. But Rhodes going to be coming back up and online now.
Zero does this all the time. He constantly has to back at really inconvenient momentum points because he runs out of his wards and needs to refresh his Sightstone. That said, it is going to be kind of the timeout for Team WEs. Now the rest of the team will follow, pick up all of their pink wards, get their sweepers, and start moving into that pit.
Yeah, it's step 1 process of the 3-step, I think it is, process is now going to take place. WE with control of the map look towards setting up at the Baron pit. The Drake should be a free objective though in 1 minute and 45.
That's going to be another Infernal Dragon. Team W already have 1. Picking up a second will be beneficial for their team comp, especially with Mystic picking up a ton of damage. Now is the last Whisper available. Subjugate on the side of Subjugate on the side of Team W is going to help Mystic out as well to take down the tanky Poppy in the front lines. No QSS picked up by Aime yet, so Malzahar still very potent in these team fights, especially with the Lamprey's Torment picked up.
Yeah, definitely going to be a tank shred. This is a big moment. Not because of the Baron, because of the item spikes.
Look at the
we
gold.
have
16,000 gold on Mystic. That's a lot.
6-1 and 2. He's no small sliver. He's the primary carry of the team, the primary damage dealer. This composition is built to create space for him, even in the Malzahar.
957 should go back to base as well. He's got 2,000 gold. Needs to work on his Randuins.
Mystic's got his mortal reminder now. 6 items picked up. Unless you're rusty and the boots have got to go first.
I didn't make the meme.
It's 957 now in the mid lane. Pings furiously pinging out the Baron for Team WE as they sweep out the wards, put down a few pinks of their own. Scuttlecrab still left up to be taken.
Recall, man.
And immediately 957 goes down towards the bottom side of the map. You can see a Voiless very active on his screen there. Talking with the rest of his team, telling them what they need to do now.
Well, they need to safely and defensively move up their vision very small. They don't have any blue trinkets left, so that was the last one. They've got 2 pink wards to deal with on the Baron pit.
They're still sweeping up ward after ward. Finally, 957's gone back to base. They're Stand United onto CS. Road is going to get taken down. 957 gets it with the taunt as they send the Voiless back into the team. He gets locked down, forces his collateral damage to close the distance. 957 gets ejected from the team fight, but the damage has been done. Road, he is dead. Heal used by Jin Jiao as well as the flash from a Voiless.
And it's not just Road being dead, it's also, like you said, the flash and a big piece of health missing from the Voiless. So Graves is chunked out back in base, which means the only option I may have is either give it up or fight for it.
Miracle steal.
Well, here comes the curtain call. Amazing J's into the back line to the top of Sia, trying to fight this one out, but Baron falls. Conti picks it up. Amazing J's going to fall to Mystic. Now Athena's trying to run for the hills on his Vladimir. Gets knocked up by the code. Has to use the same report to get back to safety. They're still chasing the Vlad, forced to flash over the wall, but Baron buff to Team WE.
He does get out alive, but Team WE get the major objective. They should be able to go over to the Infernal Drake alongside this in a big swing, not of momentum, but just a big swing of power now secured by them. They get this next Drake, it's very difficult for IMA.
And it's 2 open inhibitors in the bottom and the mid lane, so Team WE, they're pretty much putting the final nail in the coffin for IMA this game, who have just been struggling.
There's another Infernal Dragon gets taken out by Team WE, prompting the other Dragon to spawn in the next 6 minutes. They already look unstoppable, going to be able to go back to base, pick up their last few items.
And a very different story between Game 1 and Game 2. Yes, the series is still split right now, but it was IMA's game to lose in Game number 1. A comeback victory for WE. Looked very dominant in Game number 2. This time around, a Voidless just really outclassed by Condi. Did not have the same impact on the map that they needed. They didn't get that early snowball, and they let Mystic and Zero run over them in standard lanes.
Pretty much, Mystic was that huge benefactor, I should say, to everything that's happened so far. In fact, just letting Zero farm up. He doesn't need the farm anymore.
And if there's anything that the LPL has taught us about 6.15, it's that you need to prioritize 2 things. 1, you need to prioritize wave clear, and B, you need to prioritize a jungler that has presence and gank pressure on the map. A Voidless looked at the Elise, chose the Graves, but he picks that when the Vladimir is already there, which means that they have like 0 hard CC. They're looking for a Poppy stun, they're looking for concussive blows, as well as the Jin ultimate. That's it.
Yeah, the idea is they kill them just by damage. Braum gives you crowd control as well, and Jin can provide crowd control from your own spells, so they have it through their bottom lane. The rest of the map definitely lacks when their bottom lane hasn't rotated to the area, and their bottom lane lost.
Well, here comes the curtain call. Next on to Mystic. Gets some good damage on C as well. Doesn't do anything more. Clears out the wave slightly, but those minions are going to chunk through the inhibitor. First inhibitor falls in the mid lane. Now moving towards the bottom lane. The inhibitor turret already taken down previously. Looking to take down the turret. Sorry, the inhibitor itself. That's going to fall. No contest coming out from Miami. They give up both objectives. They do start a fight after it falls, though, and they're going in. Big ultimate coming out from Condi. Athena is dead. So is a Voidless. They're chasing down Road. He's going to fall down to Condi as he's trying to chase him. But Mystic on the back lines. He's taking down Amazing J. Road eventually gets to his turret, but Jinjiao's gone as well. 4 kills being picked up by Team WE. They're on to the Nexus, and they take up Dame number 3 to put them at match point against IMA.
And it's 38 minutes. Team WE finally decide that they want to play the game, want to play League of Legends, and now move up 1 more point in this series. Slow and steady, pretty standard Team WE. We said it, we don't want them to adjust anything very heavily in their draft, just to execute better, and it started in the bottom lane. Mystic and Zero just put Jin Jiao and Road in the bin.
Yeah, the TLDR of this series so far has been the bottom lane success or failure, has been the success or failure of them in the game. The same thing applies. You look at the draft from IMA this time around. They had a CC heavy bottom lane that needed to be ahead. Jin, when behind, just doesn't do any damage.
That is the best highlight of the night. But the rest of this, to start things off, was Team WE's highlights to kick off the entire match, basically. Voidless getting taken out for first blood, followed by the first turret. Team WE even fight here and pick up a big victory over the Dragon buff. And only really, I may fight back at one team fight and one Baron play, but that's all they got, and TW just fight back hard for the rest of the match.
Yeah, they had a massive advantage after that point, and it took them a little while to get it to work. But from this point onwards, WE had control. They just had to pick their moments. They even gave an opportunity here to IMA. Athena still showing that he's got what it takes to be a big Vladimir in the game. The end result was that they only really got the kills. They didn't get anything past it.
And that was... I feel like IMA just aren't playing IMA's style here. They're not moving around. Athena being locked down multiple times throughout this series in the mid lane, not interacting with the side lanes. IMA made their reputation on picking skirmishes in the jungle, being a very fast-paced, hard-hitting team. And when a game is going to 38 minutes, they fell apart at the seams.
And this is exactly where Team WE pulled themselves back. They lost the Baron, lost the team fight, but they get 2 kills in the mid lane, 2 turrets for it, and suddenly they're back to 5,000 gold in as if they never had that hiccup in the middle game.
Yeah, that's all it really was, a hiccup, because you get towards the later stages, and this is a big fight where Mystic did an abundance of damage. Amazing J was one of the few things that just felt out of sorts to me on the Poppy. I understand what he's trying to do by being Poppy, but he just did not feel as comfortable as he otherwise would.
To be fair, Team WE, they were up really late last night, taking down Snake, making it to round number 3. So maybe it's just, a bit of a warm-up. They actually fell asleep during the middle of the game, jolted themselves back awake, back to life.
And this was the final team fight from Team WE. They plow through all the inhibitors. I may try to go for a fight, but it's not successful. You can see Mystic, 40,000 of his team's damage on the Sivir.
And slowly but assuredly, Xie has been starting to warm up. This is a matchup that went horrible for him in game number 1. He comes into the third and holds his own, at least a lot better than he did in the first. And live or die by the bottom lane, but still most importantly, the wildcard lane of that middle choice was a lot better for WE.
Certainly was. Sia was falling behind in the mid lane, but still out-damages Athena by a ton on this Malzahar. Looked like it was going poor for him, but he still comes through in those team fights as Team WE. They pick up the victory, and it is going to be Condi that picks up MVP on his performance in Gragas.
I mean, fair enough.
I would have given it to Mystic and Zero.
Yeah, but again, it's a team thing from WE. There was never really a situation where it was just Condi killing someone or just Mystic and Zero killing somebody. Still a 5v5 at the end.
I think you said it best during the game there. Condi was playing out of his mind, and the benefactors were really Mystic and Zero. They were able to show their true dominance in that bottom lane after that, and he did have a great game on the Gragas.
I think it was more so that Mystic and Zero had won bottom lane so definitively that it opened up space for Condi to do whatever he wanted. This looks around the map and every single one of his lanes are shoved in or losing as opposed to that mid lane, but even Malzahar was just staying away from Vladimir, throwing creeps into him. There was just nothing Graves could do.
And to be fair, they still won lane in the second game as well. The major difference here is that they tried to dive or get too aggressive and look for kills, and they get completely outplayed by IMA. This time around, WE look to just control the minions and keep them down throughout so they can slowly but assuredly win the game.
And they did it. They did fantastic sales, and now at match point against IMA, we're going to go into a quick break, but we'll be back with the 4th game of the night in just a bit.